Welcome to our 10th year of our MBN Speaker Series events. Oh, wait a minute. I guess we're okay for right now. I'm Chris Holman, and I'll be shepherding you through this, as a matter of fact, today. COVID, as you can see, and the way we started, has been kind of a challenging time for us. And we are very proud, through tenacity, to restart our speaker series after quite a hiatus. We have a good percentage of our guests that are registered for this webinar, and many more that are going to be watching us live on our website and also on Facebook Live. And we know we're going to have a very healthy audience that will be picking this up on our website at a later date. So COVID has inadvertently helped us reach an even larger audience than we normally do. Now, if you lose your connection to the webinar, then you have to rejoin using the same unique link in the email that you used to join initially. This is our first attempt at a virtual MBN Speaker Series event, and we ask for your patience as we navigate the inevitable technology issues that will occur. We are actually starting a little late because we wanted you to know by example exactly what we meant. Our speaker today wants also to have a fireside chat format. So he's looking forward to an engaging conversation. Well, this means your questions. And here's how you get your questions to today's presentation. Now, with this Zoom webinar, click on Q&A on the bottom of your screen and submit the questions that you're interested in having him here. Get us your questions as soon as possible so that the MBN crew can gather and pass those along to me for later in this presentation. Now, these events don't happen, of course, without our sponsors. So we want to thank Cinnaire, Dean Transportation, TriStar Trust Bank, Shaheen Chevrolet, MSU International Business Center, the Broad College of Business, Kettering University, and Fly Lansing. And as you know, as is our tradition for the speaker series, we're going to go around to leaders and our community and find out what's going on. So here's a set of actually pre-recorded videos that we've gathered for this event, Community Roundtable. So first of all, Jade Sims is a trade specialist at the Michigan State University International Business Center. So Jade, would you start?
Oh, so much going on, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity. As you know, we are the International Business Center at Michigan State University, housed in the Broad College of Business. And we are a complete outreach center. So our mission is to work with US businesses to make them more competitive internationally. So we work a lot with small and medium businesses all over the state and all over the country in order to help them grow their global sales. So we do this through providing training and research. So if any of that sounds interesting, please reach out to us. We also partner with a lot of state, national, and local groups in order to connect these small and medium businesses to trade shows, to trade missions. E-commerce resources are a really big topic right now, as well as funding for international marketing activities. So right now we're super focused on China. Obviously in the news a lot right now with the tariff war and these supply chain disruptions that we've seen as a result of COVID-19. In the US, about 2.5 million jobs are dependent on this trade with China. And in Michigan, we've got over 30,000 jobs that are dependent on that trade. So as a very globally connected state, it's super important to us. And as such, we are currently getting ready. We're partnering with the Lansing Economic Club to bring in Craig Allen, who is the president and CEO of the US-China Business Council. So he works with the 200 of the largest Fortune 500 companies in order to those that are working in China. So he's got a really good perspective, and we're excited to hear from him on October 20th. And beyond that, keep your ears open because we've got some other events in the planning phases. So thanks.
Well, Jade, thank you very much. Jade Sims, of course, from MSU. And I have a personal piece of this as well with all the business I've done in China. And I thank you for keeping us all aware of the fact that that opportunity is still there. And when things change, it will come back, we hope, with a big roar.
Hopefully.
Yeah, thanks, Jade. Appreciate it. And next up, of course, Julie Pinkston, President and CEO of our own Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Greater Lansing Convention and Visitors Bureau. And Julie, what a time for you to take over as the new leader.
You know, March 11th was a great day to start here as the president and CEO of the organization. I think pretty much the world stopped here. So it's been an interesting time for us, to say the least. So we've been, you know, in April and May, our industry, the tourism and hospitality industry, we got down to about 18% of hotel occupancy, but we're moving up to about 45 now. So we're holding firm there and not going backwards, but it's been a slow crawl, and we're just very much maintaining and not moving forward until we can start doing things again in this community and having people travel, having people visit our location. So the summer has been better than expected. So we're thankful for that. And we just keep promoting our community and the great things that we have to offer. So.
And we do have a lot of great things to offer, Julie.
You know, it's been wonderful to promote some of the summer activities because everyone's so intent on being outside and experiencing kayaking on the Grand River, going through our parks and gardens and finding new things that they probably didn't know were here before. So it's been great for people to rediscover the community and find new things that they can come back for another day and see a lot more that we have to offer. Really great thing has been all of our attractions have offered virtual programming and lots of ways to connect. So we just really have to continue to support small business though, so that we have a lot of things viable and available when we get to go out and about again. So that's what we're looking forward to.
All right, Julie Pinkston, President and CEO of the Greater Lansing Convention and Visitors Bureau. Keep up the good work and keep promoting our area. It's a wonderful one.
We will keep on it. Thank you, Chris.
All right, thanks, Julie. And now, next up with our community roundtable, of course, is the executive director, and a pretty new one, as a matter of fact. And we're pretty pleased at how it's going at the Capital Area Michigan Works, Carrie Rosengana. Carrie, you've been there a little while now, but you've been at Capital Area Michigan Works for quite a while.
I have, thanks, Chris. So I've been a part of the Capital Area Michigan Works team since 2007, but just recently was promoted to the CEO position as of July 1st. So I'm really pleased to be with all of you and to have the opportunity to lead our agency next.
Excellent. So what's going on?
So our agency has, of course, remained open through the COVID crisis and pandemic. And so while our physical operations are not happening, we have switched and pivoted over to providing virtual services. So we've been working with our employer community to continue to provide supports to them so that they can find the connections to the job seekers that they need. And we've also recently launched our first virtual job fair, and we were really pleased. We had over 29 employers that participated in a number of job seekers, and we've heard back from our employers that they've already had some success in bringing aboard and hiring on some of those job seekers that they connected with. So while we are still providing services in that manner, we're also working with our job seekers to make sure that we have all of our job seeker information posted on our website, and we're offering a variety of different workshops through both social media on Facebook at CAMLA's Facebook page, as well as through our website, to make sure that we're offering those opportunities to stay connected. We know that we're seeing increased numbers of calls coming into our center with job seekers who are really actively looking for opportunities to connect to employers, and we're really trying to be thoughtful and strategic in making sure that we can provide the resources to both partners, community, as well as our job seekers and employers, so that they get supports they need.
Well, you've always filled that necessary void, and we see the tradition is continuing, Carrie. Welcome to that position, and thanks so much for the great job you're doing.
Thanks so much for having me today.
All right, thanks for that report, Carrie, and keep up the good work. Right now, Senior Vice President of TriStar Trust Bank, our good friend Ben Bach. And Ben, what's up?
Hey, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it very much. You know, what I wanted to talk about today from TriStar Trust Bank is a topic that a lot of our clients are asking us, which has to do with what should they do with their money in the time of this presidential election upcoming. It's on a lot of folks' mind, and so I wanted to share that with the group. You know, what we're telling from our investment team, you know, our clients and others, is to stay the course as a long-term investor. There's a lot of uncertainty out there, but when you look at the history of the stock market, whether a Democrat or a Republican has been in the White House, over time, those earnings have been very consistent. So as opposed to those that would consider panicking, pulling money out of the market, missing an opportunity there, work with your wealth management professional and stay the course. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to TriStar. The other thing I wanted to share with you, Chris, is something we're very excited about. TriStar is celebrating our 20th year in business here this month. So TriStar was started back in 2000 as both a trust and wealth management firm. So we are one of only a handful of state chartered banks that don't offer deposits, and we don't do loans. All we do is what we do really well, which is trust services and wealth management. We do it in a totally objective approach that is completely transparent to all of our clients. We've had a great year. We've grown tremendously, both with our current clients and adding new ones, as well as some new staff that we've brought on. So it's been a good year for TriStar, and really appreciate it here. Spend some time with you today, Chris.
Hey, well, thanks for your advice, and you guys have been giving good advice for about 20 years. Senior Vice President of TriStar Trust Bank, Ben Bakken.
Thanks.
And next up, Jason Cords from Shaheen Chevrolet. Jason, you guys are always a great economic indicator. How are things going?
Well, thanks, Chris, for having us on today, and things are going pretty good. I felt like it was a little rough back in April and even the end of March, but now things have really started rolling a little bit more. We finally moved Cadillac onto our campus and got that open. So that's right on the Chevrolet campus, and very proud to have a new building over there with Cadillac. And so that's going really well also.
Well, I would say that probably there's some real efficiencies in moving that campus over to where you are.
Well, it's nice. We don't have to even go onto American Road. It's all one large facility and campus. And it's just been great from management staff to our employees, and Chevrolet selling Cadillac and our Cadillac people selling Chevrolets. So it's going good now. And even using our quick loop for our Cadillac customers, we still have them go to the Cadillac store, but then we take it over and enter the quick loop. And it's so much more efficient for us. I should say that.
So very quickly, are you able to get product?
It's coming now faster than ever. We've been challenged by it. Used cars have been challenging to get, but product is coming, and very fortunate now that GM, all the plants are running and going good right now.
So product is coming to Shaheen Chevrolet and Jason Cords. Thanks so much. And let's get out there and help them move that product, shall we? All right.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, next up on the Community Roundtable, Tim Damon. He's the president and CEO, of course, of the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce. Tim, what's up?
Hey, Chris. Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I guess before I get started, obviously, to say that the last few months of anything but business as normal would be silly, right, to do that. And I just want to thank a lot of our members and investors, many of the folks who are here and joining us for the program today, for their continued support and allowing us to continue to do the things that we need to do to support all of the businesses here in our community and region as well. So just wanted a big thank you to the business community for continuing to step up in these challenging economic times. Also, a big welcome to my good friend, Sandy Baruah, and thank him for taking time to connect with the Lansing business community today. Sandy does not only a great job in leading the Detroit Regional Chamber, but also providing that leadership throughout our state and representing the Southeast Michigan business community. And our organizations, we're fortunate enough to work very closely with Sandy and his team on a number of statewide policy-related issues. And so, Sandy, thanks for taking the time and joining us today. As I mentioned, over the last few months, we've had an opportunity to assist and help hundreds and hundreds of small businesses throughout our region, and thinking about things from unemployment insurance and benefits to issues such as the PPP loan process, and understanding what all this looks like, securing PPE materials and providing just resources for a lot of folks as they look to safely and effectively reopen their business here in the Lansing region. Through a lot of our Relaunch Greater Lansing initiative. We've also, like all of you, we've had to get creative and innovative with what and how we, deliver products and services. And we've done that like everyone is, and what we're doing and connecting here today with the virtual networking platforms. We've connected with more than 3,000 business leaders, business people throughout our region, organizations, education, all of the above. And we've done that through a number of our webinars and programs such as Economic Club and Healthcare Forum and a number of other things that are coming up here this fall, and we're really, really excited to do that. I think a couple of the programs coming up, the Athena Leadership Program, will be recognizing University Club President Karen Granneman with the Athena Award, and we're excited to do that and continue that strong tradition on as well. In October, we're kicking off our 6th Leadership Lansing cohort, and obviously with the COVID restrictions in place, we're adjusting the program to be a virtual platform at least through the end of 2019 or 2020 and into 2021. Now we're expanding it this year to include a little bit more professional development to really offset the inability to get out into our community and see a lot of the wonderful developments that are happening here. And then the last thing here, we're working very closely with Bob Trezise and his team at LEAP on a regional benchmarking report, a state of the region benchmarking report. Thank you for giving us the idea. I know you've been doing this for about 5 or 6 years now down in Southeast Michigan, but really benchmarking our region's economic competitiveness against 11 regions throughout the Midwest and into the Southeast. And the report, which we began in the fall of 2019 and was completed prior to COVID, but obviously with everything that has happened, we did not release the report, but we are looking forward to doing that here this fall and really celebrating, I think, some of the successes we have here, some of the opportunities we have here, but really strengthening our region and a broader regional vision to really kind of help us as we continue to compete for jobs and investment in this global economy. So that's a quick one, Chris, but again, thanks for the opportunity today, and best of luck with the program.
Well, partner, always good to have you on. Keep up the good work. Some people went into hibernation. You can see that the chamber did not. Tim Damon from the Lansing Regional Chamber of Commerce. Next up, Bob Trezise, CEO and Grand Poobah of LEAP, the Lansing Economic Area Partnership.
Did you call me
What's
too?
up? You shortened it on me.
Well, a lot, Chris. Thank you very much, and hello to everybody out there. LEAP has been very busy these last 6 months. It's been both, Chris, kind of, I would say, heartbreaking, but most rewarding work. So we have, both from the federal government and state government, taken nearly $8 million and have redistributed that, or in the process of redistributing that, in the form of mostly grants, a bit of loan, but nearly all grants, to small businesses of 50 employees or less across the Ingham County, Clinton County, and Eaton County region. And we've touched, or will be touching, just about 700 total businesses. So that's all rewarding. The sad part is, Chris, the demand for those grants was 10 times, what with the money we had available. But I think a lot of good has been done. The first grant round that we did in March and April, we had 1,800 applications, and we awarded folks some $1.2 million in grants and loans. The current round is $5.5 million. We're right in the sort of tail end of getting to a place where we can distribute that money in the next 2 weeks by September 30th. And that will be to over 400 businesses. So it's, again, been heartbreaking, but rewarding. But if you could have told me on March 1st that we would take $8 million of someone from somewhere place else and be placing it directly in the hands of our small businesses here, I could have never, ever believed it. So we're very pleased by that. A second nice piece that we've been working on is called the One and All program. And we actually created this last fall, but who could have known? But it's kind of a perfect fit for where we are right now. This is a program to distribute both funding, but also intense mentorship to 120 folks who are all below the underrepresented or ALICE threshold working poor part of our population. Chris, it's really important that we work intentionally through all of these programs to make sure that no one is left behind in this crisis, as historically is always the case. And so a lot of our money, and I mean a lot, is going very intentionally to underrepresented communities. That's women, minorities, veterans, persons with disability.
No, you're absolutely, Bob, and we do need to pay attention to them. Thanks for that update and all the stuff that LEAP does. By the way, the lizard on the back of your wall reminds me, when I was young, one of our school outings was to the circus, and you could buy a chameleon in a box and bring it home, a live chameleon. And of course, I'd take it out to show my folks, and it would disappear immediately. And I'm just wondering if that's what becomes of them.
They grow up and become the Lizard King, Chris.
I'm not going home. Bob, thanks for your update, buddy.
See you later.
All right.
And of course, thank you to Bob and thank you to all of the sponsors and leaders from our community roundtable for their insights, etc. With that, this is normally when I get, normally when I will get my round of applause for the University Club, which is where we often hold our luncheons. So give yourself a round of applause, I guess, for the sandwich that you made today or whatever. All right, so now we do come to the main course, fortunately, and we have the Honorable Sandy K. Baruah, who is President and CEO of the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce, the third largest chamber of commerce in the nation. So Baruah joined the chamber in 2010, not an easy time to join a new organization. If you remember, we were in a pretty devastating economic period at that point, and he joined it after a very distinguished career in Washington, D.C., where he served President George W. Bush as administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and I do believe that might be when Sandy and I first met. Baruah was one of the senior officials shaping the federal government's response to the 2008 credit crunch crisis and a great deal of assistance to the U.S. automotive industry as well. Prior to leading the SBA, Baruah served as the U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce. Before serving President George W. Bush, Baruah was a corporate mergers and acquisitions consultant for the Performance Consulting Group and served both President George H.W. Bush and U.S. Senator Bob Atwood. So there's much more to Sandy's story, of course, but I'm going to hand it off to him at this point. You can read the rest of his bio on a download link that we have provided. And it is a great deal of pleasure to invite my friend and just an incredible leader for the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce, Sandy Baruah. Thank you for coming and giving us time, Sandy.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much. I just realized I'm having an internet issue here at the house, which I get occasionally. I don't know, can you even hear me?
Yes, we can.
Let me just say, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be with so many friends, obviously you, Chris, but definitely want to shout out to two partners in crime and peers, Tim at the Chamber and Bob with LEAP. As Tim mentioned, we work on so many things together, but one of the three things that the three of us are working together on is a statewide initiative that Bob referred to on really focusing on the ALICE population here in Michigan. And ALICE, if you don't know, stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, but Employed. And we have a disproportionate share in Michigan of people who are employed, but still make underneath what the United Way considers to be a living wage. And that's a problem that's only going to be exacerbated as we come out of COVID. So a big shout out to Tim and Bob for their leadership on this. Well, listen, I think that so many of you who are on the community roundtable really touched on a lot of the key issues that I think we all as Michiganders are going to have to focus on. We talked about automotive, and obviously, the supply chain in automotive is a huge issue right now. We have plants across the state and frankly across the world that are operating at tremendous capacity, but we have a worker issue. And that is, we know that people are hesitant to return to work. And so we're seeing a mismatch even greater than we normally do here in Michigan with a supply talent issue. So, we have, we're really walking into an environment that is going to be essentially a K-shaped recovery. And what that means is exactly what we're seeing right now in Michigan. We have roughly 87% of our economy in Michigan open. That means a lot of us are doing really well. Other than the fact that we're working from home, oftentimes, in our underwear, our salaries are stable. Our families are stable, and we're doing fine. But there's a segment of the population If you are a small business, if you are in the service industry, obviously we talked about the Lansing area tourism business, and how we're seeing just across this country tourism businesses and entertainment businesses just taking a bath. If you're in those industries, you're on the downside of that K, and the recovery effort for coming out of this recession is going to be very different than any other recovery that we've had before. The one thing that it does share is that every economic recession that we have had, coming out of it is an acceleration in automation and technology. And we're certainly going to see that, but we're going to see that amplified this time around, because what's driving our economic challenges? Well, it's actually human beings and the risk of transmitting a potentially deadly virus to each other. So that means touching things like equipment, or being together, standing next to each other in some sort of manufacturing process. We're going to just see an acceleration of that. How that's going to impact Michigan is that obviously we're a manufacturing state. And we really need to deal with how we address the increased skill shortage that we already have going forward. So talent and education is just going to have to be an even more important issue on our agenda as time goes on. So we have a lot to do. We obviously have to deal with a political environment that in the state and nationally is flummoxed up, at the lack of a better phrase. We've seen in Michigan a little bit better level of communication and civility, but we are seeing the strains, the political strains that we have in Washington here. So, Chris, I think there's a lot to talk about, and would love to get questions, but we can talk about, where our economy is going, some of the challenges, what some of the numbers are, but I really want to respond to you and your viewers.
Well, actually, Sandy, thanks for that update. I know there's miles more, as a matter of fact, because I know you guys have been out to a lot of things, but we did get a couple questions here. One of them apparently has been following what's going on. Let's talk about the Detroit Chamber leadership.
Yeah, are you talking about the Mackinac Policy Conference?
Well, we could go to the Mackinac Policy Conference, certainly. That's a good one, yeah. Yeah,
so the Mackinac Policy Conference obviously takes place up on beautiful Mackinac Island at the Grand Hotel. We didn't have it this year for obvious reasons, because it takes place in May. So that was a real interesting moment. Certainly financially for our organization, but just kind of for the state, because it is a principle of a gathering of the state's leaders, and not having that at a time when conversation and connection, especially between our business leaders and our political leaders amongst themselves, could have been really useful. So we really, really missed that. And Chris, I think I misunderstood, but I think you were talking about our Leadership Detroit program.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm.
I also want to make this point. Taking away that policy conference was like missing Christmas for most of us. It was pretty devastating to not have that networking opportunity in that program. So now you know how much it's missed by the entire state.
Well, Chris, that explains a lot in terms of what you wear to the conference, because I always wondered why you wore a Santa hat in the spring to the conference. But now I know. This is hugely informative. But actually, our external.
Don't complicate things. I'm still trying to get over the visual of you working in your underwear. All right.
Yeah, there's certain things you can't unsee. But yeah, the conference is as our external media consultant, Matt Friedman, tells us, is that you don't have attendees, you have fans. And when I moved here, I was really struck by the fact that people go Mackinac shopping. Before the conference, people go out and buy, new seersucker or new blazers or new dresses or shoes for their Mackinac outfits. And it kind of reminded me of the first day in school back in junior high.
Yeah, yeah, and it's absolutely that kind of event, you know. Okay, here's another. The 72 other counties look to Southeast Michigan's 11 counties. Does Southeast Michigan watch, monitor, and adjust to the news and policy of the rest of the state?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm breaking up again. So I think you got. If I understand correctly, go ahead.
It's everybody in the state watches the Southeast sector in your 11 counties. Do you guys monitor what, somebody's asking, do you monitor what is happening in the other 72 counties?
Okay, thank you, Chris. And I turned off my video just to make sure I could still participate. Absolutely. I think that if we have learned anything over the last 20 years as Michiganders, we're all in this together. And so we look a lot. First of all, I'll just expand on what I said about Tim and Bob. We work with our peers all across the state. The Traverse City area chamber, the Flint chamber, the Kalamazoo, Southwest Michigan First. We cannot, as a state, move policy forward for the business community unless we have a coalition of the willing. And that is something that we are glad and thankful to participate in. So we have to, and you can only create policy that works for the entire state. And I am gratified that over the last 5 to 10 years, we have seen a lessening of the Detroit versus everybody mentality. And that is something, frankly, that I guess I understand the ethos of it, and it's not meant to be a negative, but I just think it just seems such a terrible message to send out to not just our friends across Michigan, but to the rest of the country. Detroit versus everybody. I mean, I think we're none of us are an island. We all need to work together, and if policy doesn't work for the entire state, it just doesn't work. Period.
So I'd also like to say that I think nobody's done more to stretch the Detroit Chamber across the state of Michigan than you have, and that's been admirable. Another question: in lieu of no Mackinac Policy Conference, you have the Mackinac Moments web series. How long will those continue?
13 weeks from start to finish. We have nothing, I tell you, Chris, on government bureaucracy. We have taken a 3-day event and turned it into a 13-week affair. So yes, we realize that no one is going to sit in front of their laptop and watch 3 days of programming. So we have broken up the Mackinac event into essentially 1 or 2 events per week. Our intent is to essentially do kind of one premier event every week, and maybe one smaller event like a salon session every week. So actually, just as I logged onto this call, we had John James and Senator Peters in a sequential town hall. By the way, my video worked for that. Sorry, it's not working for this one.
Well, that's good.
And next week, we have our long-term friend, Harold Ford Jr., the former congressman and MSNBC analyst, hosting Andrew Yang, the former Democratic presidential candidate, and Margaret Hoover, the Republican commentator, on their perspectives on the 2020 election on the national stage. And we will go until right after Election Day. Hopefully a week after Election Day, we'll know who has won and who has lost, and we can do a little dissection.
All right, here's another. Tell us a little bit about the Detroit Neighborhood Hub.
Oh, yeah, Chris, thank you so much for asking that, or if you or one of your listeners asked that question. So one of the areas that we have really tried to enhance, because because we do work a lot statewide, we do work on a lot of big issues, is making sure that we're playing our role to help small businesses in our immediate backyard. And frankly, that's an area that we hadn't spent as much attention as we should have. And frankly, we still need to do more as an organization. But NeighborHub is a partnership with our friends at General Motors. And what we do is that we work with local neighborhood organizations, if you're familiar with the city of Detroit, like the East Jefferson Association or the Live 6 Alliance or the Brightmoor Neighborhood Association. And we work with those neighborhood organizations, and they vet applications for micro grants from either businesses or nonprofits right in their neighborhood. And we provide, through General Motors, the micro grant money for those grants. So it could be a business trying to expand their web presence. It could be a nonprofit that wants to create maybe a community space where you could have seniors yoga or something like that. But these decisions are made all not at the chamber level, but at the neighborhood level. And this has now become a $500,000 a year, half $1 million a year program with General Motors, and both General Motors and us would love to expand it.
You know, along those lines, and that is getting involved in the neighborhoods because it impacts small businesses in the area. How long is the border closing with Canada? How is it affecting the local economy? And do you have any idea how long those borders will be closed?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we knew how long the borders would be closed, that might also tell us, when the COVID crisis is going to go away. The sad news is that the United States is the industrial country that has handled COVID the worst. And I don't want to get political, but there's roughly 900,000 deaths globally with COVID, and the United States is 200,000 of that. So it's just a completely disproportionate share. The reason I put that in there, I say that, is because that is why the border is closed. Actually, there are a lot of countries, industrialized countries, where the United States citizens simply we're not allowed to travel to anymore because of the level of COVID in the United States. I mean, right now, the worst case in Europe is Spain, and they have an infection rate of 1.7%. And everyone's kind of worried about, oh my goodness, the spike in Spain at 1.7%. We're kind of in the 5 to 6 range. I mean, so we're a factor of quite a bit higher than that. Now, fortunately, our numbers are going down. They're getting better, which is great. Our death rate is definitely going down compared to what it was, which is only good news. But until we actually get a handle on the virus, borders are still going to be closed to us. Our economy is still going to suffer. We need to walk and chew gum at the same time. We need to restart our economy, get businesses open safely, but at the same time, put an equal effort into getting the virus under control. I just don't know any, senior business leader, especially nationally, that doesn't tie those two things completely together.
Yeah. Sandy, your chamber appears to be working very closely with Mayor Duggan and has in the past. Can you highlight collaboration with him during COVID-19?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just give you one example. The Detroit Regional Chamber runs a program called the Detroit Promise, which is a guaranteed either 2-year or 4-year college scholarship to any student who graduates from a high school in Detroit. Doesn't have to be a public high school. As long as the high school is located in Detroit, it could be a charter school. As long as you graduate, and you can graduate with a D+ or a C-, we will guarantee you a 2-year, 4-year college scholarship. Now, obviously, this is something we do in partnership with Mayor Duggan, but the specific example I want to give you about collaboration is that, we follow those students as they matriculate from high school into the college environment, especially the community colleges in the immediate Detroit area. And we work with each one of those students to make sure that they had, one, the equipment that they needed. I mean, did they have a laptop capable of being able to do homework on. We found out a lot of our students who had gone on to community didn't have the right equipment. So we went out and bought Chromebooks. And I tell you, that was a really tough thing to do back in April because the demand for computer equipment was so high. In fact, the supply chain hasn't caught up. We also worked with our friends at Comcast to make sure that they all had stable and successful Wi-Fi connections so they could actually do their homework. So that's a great example of, you know, the city and the chamber kind of rallying together to find an answer to a really pressing problem.
Well, you've done a marvelous job, bud, and I appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for the time. If you would, flick on Give Us the Queen's Wave here, because I want them to know it's not just a recording, all right?
Yeah, and listen, I apologize to you, my friend Chris. I apologize to the audience. I live in an old house in Grosse Pointe, and I think if my neighbors turn on Netflix, my Wi-Fi connection goes down. So thank you for your understanding and your patience.
Well, at least we didn't have some cereal pop in here like Yellowstone or something. That was good. All right. Sandy, thanks so much for and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Give my best to all your staff.
Thank you very much. And you too, Chris. Be well.
Right. Very good. Thanks, Sandy. And thanks to all of you for your questions. Now, we did say the inevitable will happen technologically. We'll make mistakes. And you have to admit we lived up to that. All right. So, again, I just want to thank cinnaire, Beam Transportation, TriStar Bank Trust, or Trust Bank, I'm sorry, Shaheen Chevrolet, MSU International Business Center, and the Baruah College of Business, as well as Kettering University and Fly Lansing. Remember that our next virtual event, and it will be smoother, will be on Thursday, October 29th at 11 a.m. Our speaker will be Bill Beekman, the MSU Athletic Director. And then again in December, we'll be having the Lansing top of the statewide economic forecast breakfast. So stay tuned for details of that. And of course, more great speakers are in the works for 2021. So thank you to my MBN staff for navigating through this as best as we all could. Mike Seibel, Sarah Mosher, Wade Tong, and Jeffrey Mosher. And finally, thank you for being part of our inaugural and virtual speaker series event. And if you want to go back and watch any of this and catch it in entirety, because we did catch it in entirety, even some of those parts of the broadcast that were compromised, or care to share it with your business associates, please visit our website at michiganbusinessnetwork.com. You can grab the whole thing off. Thanks for being with us. We'll look forward to next time. And until next time, be safe, and we wish you a very prosperous month. Thank you.